This is Girl Stop Playin, a weekly show that empowers Black women to stop playing with their potential so they can live a life that they love. I'm Coriel, your favorite homegirl, and I'm on a mission to help Black women make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you're willing to work. Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know I'm bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And y'all, today's guest, she don't even know this, but she is, y'all know how y'all be seeing people on social media and y'all be feeling like y'all really know these people. You be feeling like this is like my internet friend. Like if I knew her in real life, like we would go together. This is how I feel about her. And I don't think that I've ever done like a social media based interview before, but she's so bomb on social media that a lot of these questions and this conversation is based off of the things that I've learned just by following her for free. So I am super excited to have the Nicole Purvy on Girl Stop Playin. Welcome to the show, boo.
Oh, Corey, are you
Don't cry, girl. But it's true. It is so true. You are okay. So, y'all, her social media info is going to be down below. Definitely make sure you hit the link. But what I love about who you are on social media is the way that you share. Like you're very intentional about the way that you are sharing what you're doing professionally, but it's wrapped up in so many like personal lessons and like principles. And I love it. I literally look forward to your posts because it's full of gems. I'm always sharing with people. So shout out to you.
Thank you. Oh, girl. Thank
Don't
you,
do that.
Corey. You
We're
are
not doing that today.
amazing. We didn't even start talking
We
yet.
ain't even started yet, but I just want you to know, the algorithm will have you feeling like ain't nobody seeing what you're doing, ain't nobody
I'm about to
appreciating it.
cry.
Girl, I be all in it. Literally yesterday you posted, I don't know if it was yesterday that you posted it, but yesterday I sent it to my husband. Your post about I don't know if it was weight loss or just wellness or whatever, but the last part about juicing and why you stopped juicing, because he is like all into juicing. So I sent it to him. So it's literally just, I don't want to say random stuff, but it's so much just good life stuff. So I love it.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
So thank you already.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me just say this. So, like, yes, I'm super got the feelings over here because yes, the algorithm will have you feeling some type of way, right? Like people go viral for the craziest things, or I don't want to say crazy things because I'm here for silly things, but they just go
Mhm.
viral for a lot of times the wrong,
Random things.
right? And we put our heart and soul into our content. Like I see you as well. Like you are very intentional. Like, hey, listen, I'm helping myself on this journey, but I want to help other people too. And if I have, this is how I look at social media. God said, this pretend like this. God said, here's a platform for you. You can say anything to the world. What would it be? And that's how I look at social media. As much as I'll be, in the back of my mind, like, I bet you if I did something stupid, I could go viral. But I also feel like at some point, the day of judgment,
It's gonna
God
matter
will be
one day.
like, now what was this? What did you say? And why did you say that? And I want to be able to stand firm in what I said. Like if I have this voice to say whatever I want to mankind, what would it be? And this is how I try to approach social media. So I say all that to say, I be working my butt off. I be working my tail off. And for people to say like, hey, your content really does help. And, that means a lot to me. And the same thing for you. Like you run your stuff the same way. Like, listen, if there's something going to come out my mouth, it's going to be intentional. It's going to be good. And if I don't have nothing good to say, I'm just not going to say it.
Facts. So I have a quick random question, and then I want to talk about the business because we gonna get into your business a little bit, but we got to talk about the business and put some respect on your name. But when it comes to your content, what's your process? Are you planning this content, or are you like a free spirit? What do I feel like posting today? Or do
It's
you know what you're posting for the next month?
it's a combination. So like I try not to plan too far ahead, but I have multiple places where I have notes about when I have thoughts like or when I get enlightenment about something, or I come across some scripture, I literally try to, because a lot of times just in life, we will learn something and we will instantly forget it. And I know the parable about the sower where, Jesus is like, okay, the seeds fall by the wayside, some seeds fall by the rocks. And then he then breaks down exactly what each of these types of seed and, what happens with these seed means. And one of them is the seed was planted and then they soon forget. And I don't want to forget if I'm taught, if God took the time to put something in front of my face, I don't want to forget. Now, does that mean I forget stuff? Absolutely. So what I do is I have all these different systems for making notes for things that I want to remember myself. So I'm a big notebook junkie. I literally, actually, I just, my regular day notebook, I just finished it. I just transitioned into this one. And then I have a gratitude journal. And then I have a notebook that is, this year I did something a little different, but the front of it was my vision board. So instead of the actual vision board, I did a notebook. And then the back of it is just like high level notes. And then I keep notes in my phone. And then once a week, I aggregate all the notes from my phone and I try to organize it into a couple of social media spreadsheets that I have, because so I have a social media spreadsheet, and I can tell you all about that as well. And then I'm starting a new show. I'm really excited because I finally scripted and wrote the first episode. It's called God, Goals, and Money.
Mm.
And I take those notes to plan either my social media and God, Goals, and Money, as well as my real estate social YouTube page.
Mhm.
So it took me a long time to come up with this strategy, but sometimes I'll get stuff in my head and I have everything around me like, okay, I got my makeup done, or like I don't have my makeup done, but I don't look crazy and the lighting is hitting right. So then I'll just pull it up. But I try to be really, really intentional and strategic behind it, because I also have a whole plan for like what content I'm going to be marketing. And I try to make everything tie in to the content and make it just make sense.
Well, you do it very well because it feels fresh in the sense of it's so relevant. It's so I don't want to say like natural organic. It feels like that. It doesn't feel like prepped or pre-planned. It feels like, dang, this was really good info. So that was just a sidebar, giving you a little shout out and kudos because you are definitely doing your thing. And I said I was gonna go to business, but I actually want to kind of segue. We'll get into business, but you mentioned the vision book. I would call that like a vision book or a dream book. You mentioned scripture. You mentioned, just I feel like the systems that kind of make your life work and work so well. The people don't even know what you do yet. Okay. When they find out, and that's why I decided to wait because I want to, like what you do is what everybody knows, but I want to talk about like how you're managing, like how are you actually making these things happen? Because that's what's missing on social media. It's like the glitz and the glam, but dang, she's really going to God every single day. She's really having devotion time every single day. So I want to talk about what your like daily, I don't know if it's a routine, a habit, like what does that spiritual, religious, what does that look like that's like making all of this really tick?
So you don't even know how much you're blessing me right now by saying this. So one of the things that I am doing is transitioning my conversation from mainly about real estate. That's a hint to everybody. Mainly about real estate to about productivity, because no one is talking about this. And so I'm the content on my real estate channel. I literally have over 400 videos. So like it's but so much you can teach people and how to teach them about like this is how to find a good deal. This is how to execute. This is how to get the money. How to raise the money. So like, and then I have literally hundreds of trainings in my back office for my members as well. But the thing that's missing is real estate productivity. So I just started a new series on our YouTube channel about real estate productivity. But then my show, God, Goals, and Money, is all about productivity. So I have this like hashtag in my head. I don't think I'm going to actually use this hashtag, which is Black Girl Productivity, because we don't talk about it. Like we literally don't talk about when you consume any of the content that the successful non-Black people make, which is great content. Some of them are my mentors in my head and some of them are my mentors. But it really starts with productivity. period, point blank. And we don't have these conversations. We just say, hey, this is how you do it, but don't talk about what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. Before I even go into your questions, I want to also say this to set some framework for this whole conversation about productivity. A couple of maybe like a couple months ago, God really started working on me about identity. And he really opened up my eyes to what identity was. And this a part I already knew, but I never merged the two because I was struggling with some things about my own identity. Right. I had a lot of my identity wrapped up in what I did, and I was struggling as he was pointing me in a different direction. Now, the crazy thing about this is he's already had this conversation with me in the past about stop wrapping your identity up in what you do. That is just a role. But the thing that he really opened my eyes to, and it was really all, let me tell you where it came from. It came from reading and learning about um, um, Israel in the Bible. Once God changed his name or told him his name was Israel, God told him twice. After the second time, the Bible keeps going back and forth from calling him Jacob to Israel. His original name was Jacob. Jacob means trickster, right? So as soon as he came out, his mom was like, and that's a whole nother conversation because he was fighting with Esau, and his mom was like, oh, you a trickster. We're going to call you trickster. And so for the first half of his life, he did a bunch of trickster things, and trickster things followed him as well. So then, I'm not gonna get into this conversation. Jacob's ladder, that conversation, well, not Jacob's ladder. The day he was fighting, wrestling with the angel, that's when the angel told him, "Your name is not Jacob anymore. It is now Israel." Then maybe like another 2 chapters, God tells him again, "Your name is Israel." After that, for the rest of his life, the Bible goes back and forth, but still between calling him Jacob and Israel. And I really was like, there is something here. Why? Why? And when you look at the times that God calls him Jacob, he calls him Jacob when he's doing something where he's reflecting on his past, or he can even be asking for forgiveness for his past. He calls him Israel when he's completely living in this new being. He is acting like I'm doing something going forward, right? And so in this conversation or in this eye-opening experience that God had with me, he wanted to show me that your identity is so important. In that, he showed me, we already knew this, man is three-part being. Our identity, like who we are, is first, you are a spirit, you have a mind, you live in a body. You are not your body, you live in a body. You are not your mind or also your soul, right? Mind and soul is interchangeable. Most people interchange spirit and soul. They are not, right? Your mind and your soul, that's your thinker, your feeler, all the things that you've absorbed, right? But your being, your spirit, right? That is who you are, right? Once you understand who you are as a spirit, then you move to the next level, which is your thinker, your feeling, your mind. That is your thoughts. How you identify yourself in that realm is through your thoughts. The next realm is your body. That's the physical realm. That is your habits. That is how you manifest things on this level. That's how you manifest the roles that you play in the physical realm as your habits. So if you want to manifest things in this physical realm, it starts with identifying who you are. Once you understand that you are the righteousness of God, nothing else, that's it. You're the righteousness of God. Then that changes your thoughts. And then, because remember, that's the mind level, then your thoughts changes your habits. And then your habits is how you manifest things in the physical realm, right? So I said all of this to say to you, you asked me about my system and my habits and my system for doing things. Everything is surrounded around habits, because if I'm trying to manifest something in this physical realm, you heard the be do have, right? That's really just another
Mhm.
explanation of that. You can't have unless you establish these habits, right? A lot of times we get frustrated because we want to have something that we have not become the person that would have those things, right? So I'm very, very big on establishing habits. I have a whole system. Actually, the first 2 episodes of my new show, God Goals and Money, is all about my 2 main system for establishing habits and how I run my day. The first thing is, I teach all my members this. The first thing is I do a calendar. I schedule a calendar based on 4 weeks in the month, and I will anything that I want to do, right? Like anything that I want to manifest, I do a brain dump of all the tasks that I need to do on a regular basis to manifest them. Then I color code those tasks based on the 3 areas of business. Is it sales and marketing? Is it operations, or is it finance? Everything falls under those 3, right? So then I do a brain dump and then I color code it. Then I take those items and put it into the calendar. The whole point is to make sure that the calendar has it's a Christmas tree. Because what we will typically do, and I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years. What we will typically do, if you're brand new to business, you're not keeping a running stock on what you're doing, you will do mostly operations and won't do marketing and wonder why I don't have enough money, because you love to do that thing. So you innately just want to just do the thing to help your customers. And you don't realize you're not even making enough offers. You're not putting people in the funnel. You're not doing any leads. You don't like, of course you're not making money. You could be great at it, but you're not doing anything to get more people in the door. Also, hey, you're wondering why your money is messed up because you're not spending any time on finance. And this is natural. No one wants to do these things. Like, you don't want to, unless there have been nerdy times in my life where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to sit down and do my finances. That's not one of these times right now. So I have to be really intentional about it. And the same thing about marketing. Like right now, I'm in my marketing bag, but I had to be intentional. I had to schedule it on my calendar. So once you make sure your calendar is lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay, I spend Tuesdays doing this. That's green. You good, right? So the colors that I typically do sales and marketing is orange, operation is yellow, and then finance is green. Doesn't matter. You can do whatever colors you want. And I have a whole spreadsheet for all of this. Then the next thing is, this is the key. This is the game changer. Every one of my students that do this, they be like, oh my God, this changed my life. The second part is what I call dailies. Mm-hmm. Now, this all started because I used to have this whole idea that I had to wake up every day in the morning and do a 2-hour prayer and do a or I should say a 30-minute prayer, 2 hour meditation, this and that and this and that. And I would just do a series of personal experiences. I was like, no, what I really want to do is get up and get to it. And so I made a list of all the things, and that you use the same color coding system to make sure you touch on things. All the things that you're going to do as soon as you get up. Some of those things are going to be personal. I don't do these 2-hour prayers anymore. I do a quick, maybe 5-minute prayer. Some of the things are personal. Like I said, I have my gratitude journal. But then I hit on a bunch of things, and it takes me about 2 hours. I hit on a bunch of things where I'm hitting on everything in the businesses. Right? I'm hitting on a little bit of finance. I'm hitting on a little bit of operations. And these are like 1 minute, nothing is more than 20 minutes, 1 minute to 20 minutes. And that's what I do every morning. As soon as I get up before my son, I spend 2 hours. I sit at my desk, spend 2 hours and knock out my dailies. And I do the same dailies every single day. Now, remember, the rest of the day, what do I do with the rest of the day? I already done planned all my rest of the day out from the other schedule. Like, okay, right. So Monday, I do this. Okay. That's how I run everything. And I'm a huge spreadsheet.
Google, I picked that up. Oh, I got the girl. Yes, I gathered that for sure. I'm like, I consider myself to be like an organized mess. Like I'm the person that would drive you crazy. Your personality type would be like, girl, I told you to put the color code, So to your point, people aren't teaching this. There's a lot of assumptions in entrepreneurship, and a lot of us run up on these life skills, hard skills, soft skills in action and realize anybody ever taught us that or even talked about it. Like I've never even heard about managing business finances, some basic fundamental things that everybody's gonna have to do. I never took a business bookkeeping class. Like I never talked about organizing my finances until I hired, someone. So I do think that there's definitely a lack of information, conversation, and resources when it comes to how are we gonna make this stuff work? Because everybody tells you to, have the faith, go after your goals, but how?
What
Like,
does it look like on a daily basis?
what's ABC 1, 2, 3? Yes.
What does it look
So
like on a
God,
daily
Goals,
basis?
and Money
God
on
goes.
YouTube.
It's not even launched yet. I just can't
It's
stop
on
talking
It
about it.
might be by the time they watch this though. It
Maybe,
might.
yes. God goes and money. Just follow me on Instagram and I will tell you all the things.
So now that we are 20 minutes in, I'm gonna read your bio real quick. Nicole is the founder of the Better Than Success Real Estate League, a national. Wait a second. I skipped a paragraph. Nicole Purvy is a real estate developer and investor. She is also the owner of Heritage City Construction, a general contracting firm specializing in 1 to 4 property full gut renovations, 1 to 4 family property full gut renovations. Nicole is the founder of the Better Than Success Real Estate League, a national real estate club with hubs in Los Angeles and Philadelphia that educates and provides community for new and experienced real estate investors using the world's first and only real estate AI mentor. While growing BTS, Nicole also founded Philly Real Estate Week, an annual week-long celebration of real estate investing and home buying in Philadelphia, and the Women in Real Estate Summit, an annual one-day intensive real estate investing event that features an all-star lineup of women real estate investors. She also owns and runs a real estate virtual assistant staffing agency, BTS Staffing, which focuses on providing virtual support for busy professionals who wish to transition out of their 9 to 5 and into a full-time real estate investor. Baby, look, I'm out of breath reading it, and I'm gonna read every word because we got to put, now that they know what it takes to run your life. Now I feel like, okay, now y'all see why she got to have the systems and the spreadsheets. And this I think is probably the only way to sustain it, because you can attain it by, being like a disorganized, all over the place, kind of flying by the seat of your pants. You can do it, but can you keep it? Which I think is not the conversation we're having. The conversation is started, but not sustain it, grow it, scale it. So shout out to you. Let's talk about this real estate though.
Thank you. Before we go into real estate, I
Okay.
want to say something
Okay.
to all my organized, beautiful, efficient people. I'm naturally that way. Here is my argument. I'm gonna say this to you, and if it works for you, keep doing it. But this is my argument: why you should work really hard on getting organized. Because no matter how much of an organized, efficient person you are, the biggest problem that you're going to keep running up against is you're going to have the same thoughts over and over and over again. That's the only way to optimize. Like one of the prayers that I have all the time is God to increase my personal mental capacity, because overwhelm comes from two things. You got a lot of things coming in, or a lot of things that you have to think about, but your cup is not big enough, right? You're frustrated because you're like, "Oh, I can't, and so you can either do one of two things: decrease some of the things you got coming in. Sometimes, a lot of times, that's the solution. Or you can pray that God increase my capacity, because there's no way that Elon Musk can be running multi-million dollar businesses and I can't.
Right?
Like, no, he's not that much smarter than me. I don't care what nobody said.
Listen, I'm willing to bet bottom dollar, top dollar, that he ain't got the morning dailies. Okay, I'm willing to bet top dollar that he is not to the T like Nicole Purvy, baby. Okay.
I'm not a fan, but hats off to him and his intelligence. But I just refuse to believe that he is that much more intelligent than me, or that much more capable than me. And so I say all this to say that focusing on productivity will allow you to minimize the repetitive thoughts, right? Like, you wake up every day like, what do I got to do today? What did it? No, I don't think about it no more. It's in my dailies. I think about it because there's a point in my dailies where I'd like, okay, there's a time that I can focus on the stuff at hand, but like, I don't stress about it no more. I get up, I'll get
And
my
you just got
coffee,
your
I move
routine.
it, and then I think about it. I don't be stressing. So that's my argument. Stop having the same thoughts.
Literally relieve the stress. Okay.
Stop having the same thoughts. You 70% of your thoughts is the same ones that you had yesterday. Just
And
imagine
I
what's
have
something you could do if you had new thoughts.
Listen, I was literally telling myself today, I literally had to say to myself, write it down. I'm the queen of having all the notebooks, all the notepads, and they're all, I don't even know where, like I'm writing it down to get it out, and then I got to go back to it, or I'm not right. Girl, yes, you're definitely talking to me. So I'm going to be subscribed and tuned in and tapped in because this is definitely for me
Yay.
personally.
Thank you.
But I want to get into real estate. I want to talk for sure about what you're currently doing, but I would love to know like your initial entrance into like the real estate space. Like what caught your attention or, got you into real estate?
It's such a crazy story. So I always knew I wanted to invest in real estate. Always back from high school. Um, but it just didn't happen as naturally as I wanted it to. So just to give you a little bit of context, after college, my first jobs, I was a bond trader. I was an institutional bond trader. In 2010, I got fired because I started a YouTube channel teaching people about finance. I know, way back. If I would have stuck with it, it would be a totally different game. But I think just when you're in finance back then, your contract says you can't
Yes.
do anything. Like
Yeah.
you can't do nothing else. Like, oh, you got your licenses with us, you can't do nothing else. So long story short, I got fired and I was just like, I was young. I was like, listen, I'm gonna just try this entrepreneurship thing. Very long short story. I ended up starting a digital marketing agency, had a staff at this point. Now I'm like, oh, now taking this to 2015, 2016, I'm like, oh, this is great. I got some money, I got staff. Now I can finally get into real estate. And you all know it's not as intuitive as you think. So at the time we were offering, like, I was teaching entrepreneurship classes just to get leads in for my digital marketing agency. And I said, well, what I'll do is I'll do real estate classes. I won't charge for these. I know a bunch of people in real estate and I'm just going to have them educate me, and whoever wants to join can join. And so the first meeting we had 4 people in a room, and the next meeting we literally had people spilling out the door. And from 2016 to 2017, I had to move offices. I had to move into this big 3,000 square foot space and to house all these people. And so maybe about 6 months in, now, mind you, I'm upfront with everybody from the door. Like, I don't know anything about this. If you trust that I'm going to teach myself this, sorry, there's a fee. Like, because I got to pay for, overhead. But if you want to, and I was trying to keep it small because I was still also running my digital marketing agency. But people was just coming in at the troves. And about 6 months in, I had like extreme imposter syndrome because I'm like, now I'm getting a name for this, people recognizing me for this, and I don't even own a property yet. And I prayed about it, and God was like, literally, like, just keep doing it. When your time comes, I got you. And then maybe about 6 months after that, the heaven started opening up, and like money was flowing in, and I just started buying deals and deals and deals and deals and deals, and then just helping thousands of other people buy deals and deals and deals and deals. And it was just
Owning a construction company though is next level. Like it's levels to this. Everybody on Instagram, I didn't flip the house, girl, and I ain't never even stepped foot in that house. Like everybody can say they didn't flip the house. That's like, there's let me not, I'm not trying to discredit, but you're doing just, next level things that I've never had a conversation with the woman who owns a construction company. So how do you go from there to here?
so. Let me just be clear. I don't do other people's projects. I only do my own. I let me tell you why I got my general contracting license. I got my license because in the back of my mind, I was like, this was my plan B. If this don't work out for women, and this is a completely different grind, and it's an amazing grind. It's just a long-term grind, and you really gotta really love what you do. For women, let me back up. Every state and city has a certain amount of contracts they have to award to women and minority owned businesses in order to get grant money from the federal and the state level. They have to fulfill these quotas. For contracting, they can pretty much never fill the quotas. So if you have a general contractor's license, you can get federal government, I mean, state, city, federal government contracts very easily. But more importantly, people will want to partner with you so that you can go on the contract so that they can get the contract and you don't even really have to do any work. So that was my initial thought. Also, too, I wanted to have more. At the time, I was running a lot of my own rehabs. I was running like 4 rehabs at a time. I wanted to have more control over the process because contractors are nuts sometimes. So I got my license thinking to myself, like, this is my ace in a hole. If anything ever goes wrong, I'll, become a contractor. I realized I did not want, well, not a contractor. I'll become a get government contracts. Over time, I realized that I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
But it is a thing that people can do. And I know people that do it and they making money. And it's just too much of a liability risk exposure for something that I'm not 100% in love with.
Mm-hmm.
So so
So,
then it turned into, I just got my license for my own projects and that's it. Don't ask
so
me.
what is your opinion on, for people who are interested in investing in real estate, what is your opinion on becoming a licensed realtor versus unconventional, I guess, ways of getting into the real estate space?
I don't have it. I don't want it. I'm good. I'm serious. I don't. It'd be weird. People be like, "So you're a realtor?" No, I'm not.
I do think that's an assumption, but I don't know if you know, what's her name? She does Females Who Flip. And she's a licensed realtor. I cannot think of her name. I hope she don't see this, girl. I'm sorry. But she is very big on, like, I'm trying to teach y'all how to really make money. And y'all coming over here talking about, how do I take this test?
I know.
What are we
So
talking about?
let me give you some stats. So like the average agent sells 1 deal a year. Like, so yeah, there's that. Not that people don't make money. Trust and believe. Like, Rashona, that's my girl. She killing it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of like, I got my agent right now. I'm selling one of my properties. Samantha Miller. You need any commercial agents out there in Philly? Samantha she's a bomb. Like, they killing it, and it's money to be made, but it's just such a harder hustle, and you have to really, to me, as a marketer who has marketed everything under the sun, everything, probably one of the most difficult things to market is being an agent and market your services as an agent. I don't like to do hard stuff. The reason is because it's such a commodity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless you are like, now I'm going to say this with so much respect. I can't remember her name, but she's an agent and she is gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. And she's also a broker.
Mm-hmm.
Kiana.
Kiana.
Watson.
I
Yeah.
was gonna guess. Yep.
She is gorgeous. I don't know her. She seems like she has everything, like her whole thing is in order, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think she has a complete advantage because whether she was an agent or not, she would have a following, right? Like I just saw that she launched like a capsule collection with a clothing brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would have a following. So I'm certain, Kiana, hats off to you. I know that you are a boss. You do your thing. But I think just she had a lot of things lined up that make it a little bit more easier for her to get those skills. If you
Everybody's not
want
gonna get those results.
right, if you want to be an agent, I'm not saying don't do it because your purpose is your purpose, and there's nothing I can say that's going to stop God between you and your purpose. But I don't want to fight that fight uphill. Like this is just not something I want to do. I don't want to fight that fight uphill. And it's like I said, it's just a commodity. It's but so many ways that you can show a property. It's but so many ways that you can be like, hi, I'm your local agent. Also, too, I also don't like to do businesses where the transactions are one-off. So if you are an agent, you're working really hard to get these customers that have a very short lifetime value. Because if you're buying a retail property, how many retail properties are you going to, I mean,
Residential.
residential property, how many are you going to buy?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I work hard to get you as a customer, I want to be able to say you this. You know know what I'm saying? So these are all things. This is my thought there. And as an investor, you don't need it at all.
I think your level of self-awareness though is like that is one of the common things that I'm getting out of this conversation is like I had to figure out what routine works for me. I had to figure out what planning method works for me. I had to figure out what real estate investment style works for me. Like I'm going to figure out how to do it my way versus trying to fit myself into the way that everybody else is doing it, which brings me to the Lord. Okay. Because several times throughout the conversation, I think we do such a disservice trying to separate like business from spirituality, religion, your beliefs, and what you believe in is definitely going to have an impact on your business, right? On everything. And I think the way that you are intentional about and through the conversation that you had on another podcast that I was producing, I know your or not I know because girl, you be feeling like you know people, but I remember you referencing, your relationship with God, referencing scriptures. Like you've mentioned several scriptures here. Do you feel like that's your like wild card? Do you feel like you being God's girl and not just claiming it going to church, but making it like a part of who you are, God literally being your CEO, you literally consulting to God before you make a move. Like, would you say, which I feel like you're going to say yes. So if you would say that that is like your secret sauce, what's your advice? Or yeah, advice for a woman watching this who's like, man, I really need to step up my relationship with my source.
That's a great question. My advice is this is going to sound real corny, but you got to listen to me. My advice is spend time in the word yourself because for two reasons. One, I found that most Christians, people who quote in scripture, they don't understand Christianity, they don't understand the gospel, they don't understand. It's a lot that, and it's easy to, because the Bible is filled with so many gems and culture is so, I mean, Christianity is so ingrained in our culture. It's easy to say, I am a Christian. I know Jesus died for me. And here are some scriptures that I know. And you literally don't understand what the gospel is, what Jesus came here for and how it worked. Just not to understand it. So here is my advice is to start spending time in the word. I know it can be hard to read. I know it can be. Start with the easier. Now, in
Which
my
one is the
opinion,
easier version, girl?
I'm gonna tell you, but this is real important. This is important, right? The easier version don't mean it's correct because what happened was, the Bible was originally in Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew, right? Old Testament is Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, right? And so you have all these translations, and a lot of the translations are translated wrong. The ones that are the ones that are easier are typically translated wrong. Like the NIV, which a lot of people reference, it is so many erroneous things. It's whole scriptures left out and everything. So I say all this to say, don't lean on the easier ones. Use the easier ones as a gateway. So what I would say is go to the easier ones. Go to the ones that's like the children's Bible, right? It's going to have some stuff that's missing, that's so critical. But what you can do is read the children's Bible, the one that whatever is easier for you, and then immediately after you read it, go and read the King James. King James ain't perfect. I've seen some inconsistencies in King James, not a lot. It ain't perfect, but it's the closest if you compare it to the original text. Like you can actually look at the original text. I spend a lot of time doing this. Look at the original text, look at the word, and it'll have the actual exact translation. So it's like word for word, right? And some things are still lost because there are cultural changes, language changes that we'll never be able to understand, right? And so if you see word for word, and then sometimes if you compare it to one another, it's like, this is not even what this says. This is not even what this says. But if you read it originally so that you can understand it, then go and look at the King James. It'll be able to make a better
It'll bridge it. Okay.
transition. Yes. So take the time to study it yourself. And the other thing is don't go verse by verse, because if you take verse by verse and you just say, I'm going to study this verse, there's so much missing in context. Read by chapters. Even if it's a read it in the children, read a summation, then come back and then you'll still be like, dang, I did not understand this the first time, but I get it because I see, and it's like, oh. So that's my answer for people who want to really get into the word and struggle. Just be methodical about it and understand it. You know, those simpler ones are just there to help you bridge.
So don't throw my little teen Bible to the side just yet. Tap into my teen Bible, but then
Mhm.
check it.
Until you get comfortable. Like I'm telling you, years ago I couldn't read King James. I was they
Yeah,
thou that
I'd
how
be
many
like, oh, what? Say it again now, but
especially in the New Testament, like a lot of the stuff that Paul wrote, because Paul was very much so a intellectual. Even if it was broken down in regular English, you would be like, now say
what are
what?
you saying? What are you trying to say here? Yeah, what are you trying to say here? But
This
that is
is
not an excuse. That is not an excuse.
that
That
is
is
it. But I say all this to say after practice and seeing it, I can read King James and know, even if it's a new chapter that I'm like, I never read this before. I know what it's saying.
so. If someone was going to start studying the Bible today, do you recommend they just start from the front to back? Should they start with looking at specific people, reading specific stories? Like, what should be their method?
I think they should. This is how I do it. What are you struggling with right now? Do a
Ooh.
Google search
Oh,
and
you ain't
say,
asking me. I was like, oh, don't put me on the spot. But go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
you if you want to, no, what are you struggling with? Tell me what you're struggling with.
I'm actually doing a 30-day prayer fast right now for financial favor. It's
Got
like
it.
an organized thing. So that's why I'm like, this is such a timely conversation because I do need to do my own due diligence outside of just group stuff.
So what I would do is Google scriptures, two things, scriptures about financial favor and who in the Bible had financial favor. Because the stories is what really helps to take root, right? And so when it'll say, I could tell you right now, bomb person that had financial favor, Isaac, one of my favorites, right? Or Abraham. So the Bible will be like, Abraham had financial favor. Then just go and read his story from start to finish. And you will start to see some parallels in your life and what and how he handled. Like, dang, he went through this too. And he did that. He said the prayer, and you start to look at it in terms of formulas. Like, oh, he did this, he did that. Oh, dang, and he was stubborn too. So there's hope for me.
Then you don't feel so alone. You don't feel like you just the
No,
only one that don't have.
no. Because listen, God had to tell Abraham multiple times, I am going to give you a son. The first time he was like, okay. And then went and did his own thing. He was like, no, you ain't hear me the first time.
Get it together.
Get
Okay.
it together. Then he did mess up. He said, no, again.
Redirect.
Right.
But if you don't have that reference point, then you're just like, okay, I'm the only one that, is making these mistakes or having a hard time figuring it out.
Or you will
That's
put
the whole point of these conversations, though. So I appreciate that.
you
Go
will
ahead.
also put a barrier between yourself and the Bible because you think that those people in the Bible are perfect. But the
Mhm.
whole point of the Bible is for us to see that even the bombest people wasn't perfect except Jesus. David, King David. The Bible, every time after he did what he did to Bathsheba, and Bathsheba's husband, the Bible kept referencing his sin. Abraham lied a lot. Jacob, Israel was a whole liar. A whole liar. I mean, everybody in the Bible, the whole point is the reason why they told these stories is so that you can see your humanity in them. But because there is so much, like, we don't want to
Holier than
do it.
thou. That if you
Right.
just go to church every Sunday, that's what you will be believing. That everybody is living to this standard, and you can go to hell unless you figure out how
How
to
to
run
be
a
like this. And so you won't read it because you're like, it's going to convict me or it's going to condemn me. What we want is conviction, not condemnation. It's
Mhm.
going to condemn me. So I'm scared to open it because it's going to make me feel horrible. But everybody, ain't nothing you went through that some of your favorites ain't going through.
That's comforting. This whole conversation has been comforting, and also very telling of, some things I need to work on. So I am definitely going to be on the lookout for everything. I'm gonna say for your productivity stuff, but girl, I'm locked in. Okay, I'm locked and loaded. I am tapped in. Y'all got to make sure y'all tune in too. Okay, we didn't even like we
We
could
didn't
have
talk about
kept
real
talking.
estate.
Yeah, we could have kept going. We could have kept going. And y'all go to her Instagram. Tell me what I should bring her back to talk about, because she is a treasure trove of good information, and we appreciate you. Let me talk. Like, let me speak for myself. I don't know about them, but I appreciate you. You are making a difference. The work that you and I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about Instagram, girl. I'm not even talking about what you're doing in real life. Okay, I'm talking about just an Instagram post. It sounds dramatic, but truly changing lives.
You about to make me
Offering
cry.
your perspective. Let me not make you cry. Stop that. Stop. Tell the people, listen, the social media info is going to be down below, but anything else, any websites or anything else that they might need to know to stay connected, because they got to stay connected with you. Girl, please don't cry. Please.
No, I'm definitely gonna cry. I'm going to cry. I told you, like, I'm making the transition, and I'm trying. I'm making this transition, and it's very scary for me. I have been real estate for 8 years. That's it. And not that I'm not going to be real estate. Like, I literally just. And one of the things I want everybody to know is I launched something called the Real Estate Retirement Department. It's 37 trainings for $37, full trainings where I teach you from start to finish everything that you need to know to invest in real estate. You literally don't have to watch anything else, right? And so my membership, and one of the things that I realized is my membership, my real estate community is not just about the information, it is a productivity tool in itself. Right? Because I'm going to give you these $37. You watch these videos, you're going to watch these videos, but you're going to realize you're going to need a productivity tool.
Mm.
So that's why I don't mind giving away 37 trainings for $37, because you still need somebody to help you stay on track. There are certain tasks that you need to do on a regular basis that we have built into our community. So if you go to just what's the best place to go to? Just go to my Instagram.
I was gonna say, just it'll be there. Whatever's current right now while y'all are watching this, you should be able to find it on
I
Instagram.
think I also own a realestateretirementdepartment.com.
Nah, I think I
And
also okay.
you
We're
can go there and get that.
confirm it now. I'll make sure we drop it in the description.
And one other thing, if you want to learn about our membership, go joinbts.com. You'll get the real estate. If you join BTS, you get the real estate retirement department, plus the entire productivity tool. You get access to our membership and all those things.
Well, Nicole, I appreciate you. I got your phone number, so if I send you a text message or something, don't be ghosting me. Don't leave me on red. Please let this conversation, though, be confirmation for you if you've been doubting, which, even the most spirit-led person still has those moments of doubt. So if you have been at all second guessing or doubting what God is telling you, baby, let this conversation just be confirmation that you are being called to do exactly what you are doing. And it is appreciated. And I am ending the recording before a tear falls. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Go follow Nicole. You are going to be blessed. I will catch you on the next episode.